to introduce today's webinar.
Hi, my name is Stephen Yam. I'm president of the U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce. I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Small Business Expo, our partner. We are honored to have been working with them on a few expo, and we look forward to a long-term relationship to help small businesses to prosper in this international and challenging world. So today what I'm going to talk about is how trade can benefit small business. Certainly, if you look at for the last few years, trade has been one of the most important topics in news, in politics. And many small businesses are engaged in trade, and yet some of them have done well and some of them have not done well. So today, my goal is to share with you some observation to see how we can all work together for the better future. Why a business engage in trade? The number one thing is we all want to make money. We want to make profit and build power. Today, Apple is the most valuable company in the world. And if you look at Apple, a lot of their products are made outside America, so they are engaged in trade. But if you look further down, at one point of time, the East India Company was the largest and most powerful company in the world. They have over 45,000 trading posts, employ over 250,000 people. They are not only in business, they are basically like an emperor. And they are like an empire. And they control India. They have their own private military. And they control many countries. So trade is a very important thing. And one of the primary goals is for people to make money and build power. And also to acquire resources and supply. That's how the colonialism started. And that's how Columbus discovered America. And also reducing costs. So, and if you look at America, even though we have been running a larger trade deficit, but that had been continuing for many, many years. First, America will go to Japan to do outsourcing to manage costs. And when Japan get expensive, and then American, they move to Singapore, Hong Kong. When Singapore got expensive, they move to Taiwan, ultimately to China, Vietnam, and many other countries. Managing cost is one of the most important things. And also expanding into other markets. And you look at Boeing, Boeing is one of the biggest, probably the biggest exporter of the United States. One of the reasons is they had a huge, huge international market. Also, companies want to sell excess goods. I remember many years ago when Americans were doing a lot of things to anti-tobacco, to anti-smoking, we had shipped a lot of cigarettes to developing countries, particularly China, Europe, Africa, South America. And we also want to spread our business activity to minimize risk. Also better to allocate the resources. So we don't tie up all our resources in manufacturing that we are not good at. And in the last few years, we have seen a lot of money coming in from Japan and China. So one of the things is to attract capital. If you look at the largest economy in the world, we, America, should be very proud. We continue to be the largest economy in the world. And China come from nowhere. In 30, 40 years, they become the second largest economy. If you look at that, the future tend to belong to those developing countries, such as China, India, and very important is Indonesia. Indonesia have a large population, even though they are still relatively poor, but present a potential market. So we know that the future is going to be in developing world for a lot of opportunity, business opportunity, particularly for small business. How can we capture that? Is by trade. United States have not done a very good job in trade. We export only $2.5 trillion in goods and services in 2019, just less than 10% of our total economic output. For many years, we had not focused on exports. There are a lot of reasons for that. The major export category is capital goods and industrial supply. A lot of them are being driven by technology. So Boeing had the best technology in aviation, so they lead the pack in selling internationally. But our economy has also changed to international. So service come to be almost $1 trillion. Major aircraft, commercial aircraft is the biggest export by the United States. Then we have industrial machines, semiconductor. A lot of them are driven by technology. We have not done a lot of things in shipping consumer products. On the contrary, we import a lot of consumer products. So only 1% of the small business exports. That means 99% of the business have not exported. We have the opportunity to do much more. That means we have the potential. We want a big trade deficit simply because we do not export too much and we import a lot. India, China, and other emerging countries, they have lowest cost of standards, lower cost of labor, lower standard of living, but they tend to be the fastest growing because they have the lowest cost of labor. That's why you see a lot of manufacturing have been shifted to China. Some products made overseas tend to be liked by American people, particularly consumer. Consumer, they are more interested in their wallet than anything else. They are not going to put money on the table just to help us to balance the trade. Whatever the price becomes the cheaper, and they will go for it. That is further enhanced by the internet. Because of internet and computer, we have seen that consumers are suddenly empowered. They go to the internet in 1 second, 30 seconds. They can pull up information about from different suppliers for the same product or similar product. So naturally, they will go for the cheaper. That is why we see that we have buy so much consumer product overseas. And because of internet, make outsourcing much easier. Internet, computer, and also the fall of the Berlin Wall, a lot of countries, they have liberated the economy and they create a big change in global economy and political situation. That's why we see trade. And therefore, we have not done a lot of things in selling overseas because our consumer, they tend to go for the cheapest price. We also depend on oil, but we also export a lot of oil. However, we also import a lot of oil as well. There are about 29 million small businesses in America. They are the engine of the economy. We created 2 out of 3 new jobs, but only 1% are selling overseas. We need to do a better job. Consumer market overseas tend to grow faster. And there are many guidebooks on selling overseas, and yet we have not seen many small businesses are doing that because they had difficulty. They had challenges that big companies do not face. So what do we learn? If your product are not competitive domestically, the chance of selling your product overseas is not particularly high. If your product do not have any proprietary features that can be protected, your competitor will copy your product, come up with similar product just in a matter of days. The competition will become very, very intense, and the profit margin will drop dramatically. If your product do not have the name recognition, it will be difficult to create a critical mass to generate reasonable profit. For small business, they all add up. Those are significant for them. So selling overseas can be very challenging. You need money, you need personnel, you need to spend time and understand the local custom, the social, legal, environmental constraint, how your product can fit into it. And you need to worry about production, logistics, marketing, and advertising. The good news is, because of trade, they have made it much easier. You can even manufacture overseas and sell to the local market. So, and we see some of the jobs are created locally because they want to sell to the local market, particularly automotive. Automotive car manufacturing tend to be localized because you ship air if you ship vehicle from here to Japan, from here overseas. That's why you see GM build a lot of factories overseas because they target to the local market. But auto part are global sourcing. So the opportunity for small business, they can partner with local company or have professional to work with them. One thing that we got to understand, in developing country, everybody just like here, everybody is hungry to make money. They don't want a job. They want to be entrepreneur. That's why and you see a lot of direct marketing, they have the concept, they are doing pretty well overseas, like Amway, Herbalife, all those companies. The other potential for small business is e-commerce. E-commerce is definitely the future for small business because e-commerce, particularly cross-border e-commerce, enhance you sell from United States but appear to be local. We have done a webinar on e-commerce. It is on the Small Business Expo University. Please feel free to log in and watch the webinar. So what we are going to focus today is about the sourcing. Why we are talking about sourcing? Because for us to talk about selling overseas, we will have another webinar. And there are most small business, when they do international trade, they start at sourcing. Sourcing is much easier because you have better control. And yet, sourcing is not as easy as a lot of people that think it is. And recently, and not just recently, all over, you have seen a lot of scam. Because of the pandemic, you see more scams. Everybody is rushing to buy the PPE, personal protective equipment, and a lot of people have lost money because of scam. And the bank play on. And in the past few months, people scam. There are lots of scam in the face mask, but now there are lots of scam on the glove. So what I'm going to do is focus on how we are able to do sourcing to start with, and then later on in future we will focus more on sourcing internationally. There's a lot of reason why small business have to source product overseas. You think about it. Many years ago, without international trade, you have an idea. You have to raise money, find a factory, or you build a factory to make your product. But nowadays, they give you the opportunity with small investment, you can manufacture and get to the market. So the first thing is to expand the product line. So, and you see like the small cellular phone shop, they serve the local market. They begin to buy iPhone case, charger. Now they come up with the UV charger to sanitize the phone and wireless. So you expand the product line, manage product costs, and you see that, and particularly when people begin to do the prototyping, it's very labor intensive, and then and you go to making the tool and die. So in going uh, overseas to a low cost country can help you to more prototyping and also to jumpstart and minimize use of the capital. If you don't have option to manufacture, you are going to invest a lot of money to build a prototype and even build a factory and reduce inventory. And you don't have to carry a lot of inventory. Remember that even today, the world moves so fast. The product may worth $10 today, they may worth only 50 cents. Typical example is a face mask. You remember back in March, a face mask will cost you $2, $3, and nowadays it's only less than 30 cents. Also, streamline management. You can outsource a lot of service and product, and you focus on what you do the best. And also better use of the human resources. Finding people to do manufacturing is different from finding people to do finance. You get the competitive edge. You also allocate the resources more efficiently. It will create jobs in America if you have a good strategy. I give you an example. In 2001, we have a US company based in Ohio. They do metal stamping for automotive. They came to my events, learn about the strategy. So at that point in time, they were doing 7 million. Now they do 150 million in 20 years. How do they do that? They realize that they cannot be competitive to make die, the stamping die. But they are competitive and have advantage because of their engineering skill. So they focus on engineering, product design, development, and they outsource the tool and die overseas. So when the tool and die made, they take it back to America, they do the stamping because production does not require a lot of labor. So in 20 years, they increase their revenue by 20 times. They have hired over 150 high-paying jobs in America. They are all engineers, better skill. Now they also hire some mechanic to fix those tool and die because not all of them are perfect. So international trade can help you to create jobs here. How do you do that? Very simple. You can start manufacturing facility, either form a subsidiary or do a joint venture. I do want to caution you, a lot of joint venture do not work because joint venture by nature is not a long-term solution. Then the second thing, there's a lot of cultural misunderstanding in business practice. However, if you find a good partner, you are on the same page, that can be very, very beneficial. You can do a joint venture, but you need to be careful. Then you directly outsource to third party. Find a factory or manufacturer or supplier that can work with you. You can set up your local sourcing team, set up trading posts, or you directly manage from your head office. However, you set up your local sourcing team, it does require money, it does require management. For small business, that can be a drain on your capital and resources. You can manage directly from your head office, but it's not easy. You can't take directly from the factory, or you buy from the distributor, or you go through an agent. However, you have to remember, if you are not there, you are going to find a larger problem because you are not able to supervise. A few things that we know that they are challenging. With the internet, high-speed internet, high-speed computer, everything is moving fast. Any product that come to the market, they may be new today, but in a few weeks or even a few days, they become a commodity. So the product become very, very little differentiation. And yet the supplier, the quality, the price incoming are dramatically different. So you may have the same product, but they have different quality, how you get there. There's an enormous large amount of supplier. And today, because of internet, there are very, very little human face, and you cannot manage. When you go to internet, if you type the word face mask, you are going to find a million website. How can you go for a million website to find out? So all supply appear legitimate. You don't need a GM, Honeywell, to build a beautiful website, or Apple. Even a one person working in the basement, he can still build a beautiful website. And they can find a larger pictures. So you see a larger scam there. And you are also competing with the big box retailer like Walmart. I always feel sad. There was a local grocery store called Mr. C. in Chicago. People used to shop over there, and they have been out of business. Every time when I drive by, they are no longer around, still have the empty space. In the old day, people love to hang out, you see your neighbor. Because small business are having more difficulty in competing with Walmart, and it make it worse because the internet giants, they charge you money for advertising. They change their platform like Microsoft, Windows 10, always update. It force you to come up, design your website, do all the things. It is expensive. In-person quality control is expensive, time consuming, and you have to find the right people. With the COVID-19, it's not even possible because when you go to China to do the inspection, you have to be mandatory quarantine for 14 days. Then if you go to Hong Kong, mandatory quarantine 14 days. When you get out, you cross the border to China, which 10 minutes, you have to quarantine another 14 days. So 10-minute journey actually take about 1 month. And when you finish, you go back to Hong Kong another 14 days. Then you come back here, you can't do anything. Everybody talk about innovation, but innovation is a buzzword. It is not easy to do. Plus, you saw the first point, even though you have an innovative product, they become a commodity very fast. So inventory risk is getting a big concern. So, and you see a face mask, I just give you an example, the price dropped so dramatically. Regulation and import duty, they change. People blink one eye. Look at the FDA, CDC, I'm sorry, not CDA, CDA. They flip-flop their policy and also what the regulation overnight. And the financial health of the customer can become very unstable. So, and you get a big purchase order, you ship them the good, and suddenly you don't receive. And you look at Forever 21, how much money they owe. You see, a lot of companies are out of business. They owe money, Neiman Marcus. So, and you are facing not just inventory risk, but also receivable. The market is filled with information, disinformation. It is very expensive for you to collect information, and then you have to understand, analyze them. And because scam everywhere. What the common mistake by small business? They rely too much on internet. They look at a beautiful website, and then people tell them story, and they just fall into the trap. For example, right now people are asking us to help them to source gloves. Glove is they sold out. Why? Because people don't buy surgical gloves in regular time, and company didn't manufacture. The cost is only 3 or 4 cents, and not many people make money. All innocent because of the pandemic. Everybody rushing to buy, and you have a big gap between the demand and supply. So, and because of the gap, therefore you found a larger scale. So people will tell you you cannot buy from the factory. They say they have special relationship. They are the shareholder. They know people. They can get those things out for you. When you hear that, you know that most of the time too too good to be true. And a lot of people think that they can go directly to the manufacturer and by themselves. They don't remember. They don't understand. Funding a good manufacturing company is not easy. It's a draw luck. Not only the factory, also the people who are inside can be problematic. People always look for the lower price. They forget about one thing. Everybody needs to make money. So people will come to them, give them the best price because they are not in for money. They just want for the goodwill of the country. They love American. They want an American customer, and they don't care about whether they make money or not. You know those are not true. So, and there are a lot of experts. If you go into internet, everybody is expert. They are all relative of the person or China. They are all relative of the prime minister. They Photoshop. They put their picture together with the leader. There are a lot of critical decisions you need to make. What product you need to buy, where to buy your product, country, distributor, factory are you going to take inventory? How can you ship? And because of the urgency, a lot of the PPE are shipped by air. They can be very expensive. Not only because the airline had cut down on the commercial flight, so they don't have enough air cargo because a lot of flight cancel. So making a bottleneck. You may find a good factory, but you don't know how to ship. Nobody helping you. You are going to have goods sitting around for weeks. By the time when they get here, the price change. Do you do the drop ship or you go to your warehouse? There's a big difference. You send it to a large quantity to your customer, and you do e-commerce because e-commerce have one advantage. Anything less than $800 is duty free. Do you want to have your own design, or you find whatever in the market just buy off the shelf? So, what are the possible solutions? Without any commitment to resources, working through the intermediate, at least at the very beginning, until you get your feet wet, you understand the world, I suggest you should not risk too much. You should try to work through an intermediary. Understanding that everybody has to make money. They are going to provide a service, but finding the right intermediary could be very tricky. So market intelligence from the local supplier is very important. For the intermediary, that's what they do. They talk to a lot of people. They know what is selling, what is not selling, why they are selling, and what are the price. So sometimes you work through a middleman may not be the best. It may not be a bad option. If you join a field group, even you know them or you don't know them, remember I said that a lot of goods are commodity. If you join together, you may be able to combine. You become a group buying. You have a couple of buyers together. You would achieve the volume discount, and also in shipping. One of the advantage we have working with some e-commerce trader in China because they sell so much on eBay, on Amazon, and New A, and a lot of they ship directly to the consumer. Actually, the consumer do not know that they are buying from China, and they pay the courier 300,000 US dollars a day. So they pay them close to $100 million a year. So they got significant discount. They got 70, 80% discount from us. And private labeling is possible. For example, we work with a lawyer. He's ordering 200,000 surgical face masks, and they are going to put the logo on the face mask for him with no additional cost. So, and you buy off the shelf because they already have a standardized process procedure, including packaging. So you are able to do the private labeling without reinventing the wheel. For e-commerce, I believe that that would be a future, particularly for cross-border e-commerce, for small business, for women and minorities businesses. I think and it can be very exciting. And you can ship the good directly to the customer. So you avoid the double shipping cost and also eliminate a lot of paperwork and also can also reduce or exempt from the import duty. A few small distributors and I give you an example. We work with a few small distributors. They don't know each other. I know who they are, so they put orders through me. So I put them all together and place an order to achieve the volume discount. And also because of that, give me a better negotiation and better control about the safety that their money will not be taken away. So our goal is each one can put in small order. We achieve the volume pricing and have very little inventory. Most of the time, they even pre-sell their product. And then, but it's very important, we need a quick turnaround. So we buy off the shelf, and then we ship it by air, and all ship it by US courier, like FedEx or UPS. That minimize the amount of paperwork. So we identify companies have similar need, different clientele, so they don't compete against each other. And then we put small order for them, but group them together. We also talk to the people in Asia or around the world to see what their supply chain condition, what the pricing, are they available, regulatory, and there are many scams because of that. We're using our partner, they handle the factory order and the QC and also shipping. And we have to find a good local partner. They need to have a long-term relationship, not just internet. We have met before. We also know that they have money because they started small 20 years ago with one computer midnight, husband and wife. Now they do over 100 million US dollars. So we know they have money, they have a team, we do our homework. Okay, so because of they do e-commerce, they have shipping advantage. Okay, so and because the partner have the experience, expertise, so we minimize the financial risk. It all worked out. The quality were good with the quality that were promised, and we got them in time. And our customer in America, small business, they had to pay first, but because of the fast turnaround, they turn around their money. $50,000, they can turn around the money 2 or 3 times in 1 month. So, and they make high profit margin. So, what did we learn? Human face is a must. It is not when you're a small business, you source product. It is not like you're buying from eBay or Amazon. eBay and Amazon have third-party settlement. They are just a exchange. They hold the money. If if the supply do not meet the standard, you complain, they refund your money. So people selling fake Louis Vuitton on eBay, if they got caught, eBay will hold their money. So it is not a B2C, it's a B2B, so you need human face. Reliable information is very important. They give you a good sense. So you have to talk to a lot of people and you have to talk to a lot of agents, see how much they know. But remember, a lot of people don't tell you the truth. They tell you what they want you to hear. They don't want to tell you what you need to hear. Finding a few good partners is essential. You may find one, build a long-term relationship, but you always need to do the market check. Grouping together is powerful. However, that can be difficult because you don't want to compete with somebody who sell to your own customer. So, and I always coordinate with them. They don't know each other. They have different market. And if there's a conflict of interest, I tell them. So it's very important need to be transparent with the people you work with. Very important. Speed and precision execution is the key. If you are not precise about what you're looking for, what your customer are looking for, you are putting a lot of things waste. And the world is changing so fast. Internet, high-speed computer, information, shipping, logistic, they all speed. You also think about it. Nowadays, shipping by air is cheaper than 20 years ago. 20 years ago, when I was a student, it cost me $400 to fly from Raleigh, Durham, which I went to school, to Chicago. Today, it's still $400. It's still less because we are more efficient. So that's all I have. We are going to have a few more webinars. The next one would be how you can avoid scam and how you can spot scam in your sourcing. And also then the following one is how you are able to sell overseas. We will revisit the cross-border e-commerce. So I thank you so much. Would like to open up for the floor for everybody. In the meantime, I would like to thank Lynn. She is a wonderful host and have helped me to get over some of the issue in hosting a webinar. And thank you so much. We'll also like to thank Small Business Expo for the opportunity and look forward to working with everyone. Thank you so much. So if you don't have question, and I would like to tell you that we work with small business experts. We would identify certain topic that would be of very interesting, of interest to you, and we would put more webinar and you can go to the YouTube and the Small Business Expo University to view some of the webinar. And thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for doing such a wonderful job.
Thank you so much for that informative presentation. We really enjoyed it. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded and will be available on demand within 24 hours on smallbusinessuniversity.online. Again, I want to extend a very special thank you to our sponsor, AT&T Business. Please remember to frequently check out our webinar schedule on smallbusinessuniversity.online for other great weekly business building webinars. Thank you all for joining us and have a great rest of your day.